right, so we had to come in just a little bit late because I didn't do an awesome job of syncing up the openings on Blog Talk and YouTube. I will get better at that, I promise. Next week they should be right in sync. I think I figured out what I need to do here at Blog Talk to make them come at exactly the same time. So I'm sorry that you had to wait for just a moment. If I could get Wesley Bradfield to holler in our ear, it would be much appreciated. Okay, I could not hear him over the music earlier, so I want to make sure we still had him. Everyone, welcome in to the 6th edition of the Shootin Range. Yeah, I still never get used to that. I hope everybody out there in radio land can hear us. I hope everyone out there in YouTube land can see us. We have an interesting show planned here tonight. I've had some specific things requested of me, actually. And maybe I'll get into that later. Maybe I won't. I don't know for sure. But Jermaine, why don't you tell the people how you're doing and get us ready to kick this thing off?
We're live, people, live on YouTube, baby. I hope you're going to take the opportunity to be blessed with wrestling knowledge in an entertaining form, because that's what we plan on doing here on the Shootin Range.
Okay.
I don't get no.
Well, talk. Can you hear me in your earpiece?
Yeah,
I don't do the pew pew pew.
Yeah, okay.
You do hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. And I hope everyone out there hears us. And if you do and you've got something to say, there is the number.
See the little green light here? Yeah, keep it about right there, Jermaine. See right there. Boom. Do you hear him well now, Wesley?
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Yep, that's what's going down.
Okay, you're being plenty annoying. So we'll just move on from there. Tonight, Jermaine wanted to talk about size and does it matter. Imagine that coming from a black guy. But I guess in his world, size does matter. In mine, well, I know what to do with it. But
that's not exactly what I was talking about.
Man, I do, but it's kind of how you came across, man. I mean, I think that's what you were saying, so anyways, on to tonight's show. We are going to talk about size and does it matter. We've got about an hour and 26 minutes of your life to spend with you if you choose to spend it with us. We already have one caller in. You know the deal. You are free to call at any time. The number that is above our head, that is 3. Let me get lined up. 3, 4, 7, 8, 4, 3, 4, 8, 5, 9. Yeah, those numbers. All you have to do is call those. Now, we're going to talk about the different levels of an independent wrestler this evening. We'll have Jermaine explain exactly what it is he wants to get into there, because these are his choices. Size, does it matter, and John's Mid-South talk. I guess that's what I was asked to talk about. Yesterday, boom, see, this week we're shooting. We're giving it to you straight. Normally this page is pretty full, legitimately, and we have things to talk about. We have 3 things this week. So I'm going to give that back to Jermaine.
I don't really need it, but all right, there we go.
I was specifically asked to speak to the locker room at Mid-South yesterday about a few things, social media, presence with the fans, and how you should conduct yourself at a show, selling yourself as a star, and basically kind of explaining to them, and I'll get into the full speech later, I guess. I want to make sure I can do it as well as I did yesterday. But in the end, it was basically a talk that touched on the tip of the iceberg that is the wrestler-promoter relationship, from the wrestler side of it, if you would, from a sense. I've talked about it a lot from the promoter side, but I was kind of laying out the speech, Jermaine, shooting with the people, if you will, about what you should be doing as a performer. If you want to give your promoter incentive to do what he should be doing as a promoter. That's what the talk was about.
Now, this speech that you gave yesterday, has anyone ever given you this speech? Where did you get this knowledge from that you ended up spilling to us quite poetically yesterday?
The knowledge that I spilled yesterday honestly was acquired knowledge. I mean, I couldn't specifically say, hey, this one person taught me these things, or this one person laid this on me. It's been over the course. Some of it no one taught me. I taught myself by watching what was going on in my arena. Some of the things that I preached yesterday, I don't believe we've ever heard from any of the guys that we came up under.
Oh, I hadn't. That's why I asked. You've
No,
been
and
here
that's
longer.
what I'm saying.
You've been
no.
here longer, man.
Well, like some of the things I talked about, and we'll get into. You have to understand it, and some of those weren't necessarily considered issues for the guys running this territory before us, because it was strictly, they looked at it as small time indie. Let's just have fun for our wife and kids and family type setting, if you will, scenario, I guess what I'm saying. What is wrong with our background? Well, what happened a minute ago? Oh.
Nah, Wesley. That's
Yeah,
Wesley.
Wesley is at work.
He
just
is at work.
He just put me in
You see
check.
this?
Yeah.
It's Wesley. Show some respect.
What? That's Wesley?
That's all Wesley.
I shot that
That's
one right
all
there.
Wesley, man.
So, where was I? The incentives and all that. Oh, yeah. And I was just saying some of that, honestly, a lot of the thinking of the guys that were running this area for years was more or less based just in the, oh, you know, this is the regular old indies, and all we're really using it for is to, you know, try to get better so we can maybe get to the next level. And again, that was a talk we got into yesterday, is how do you view this level? And I guess that's part of what you wanted to get into as far as the different levels of an independent wrestler. So maybe when we get through all that, then we'll get into this talk. I guess the speech can be the go home.
I don't know, man. I think you're leaving all. Look, we got about 60, 70 people right now. Just they're dying to know. They are dying to know.
You think that needs to be right off the
Man,
bat? I don't want to
hit
do
'em
that
with
off
the
the
heat
bat.
because they-
Listen, that's the main event. This dude right here is getting loud, and I can hear it clipping in my ear. He got to start working on that. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Just a little too loud, Bubba, that's all.
I get excited, man. It's wrestling.
Yeah,
I
very
get
excited. I'm serious.
Man, I'll tone it down. You know, who you want me to act like? Max Wild? Want me to act like him? That's the excitement level you want me to bring?
No,
From
can
Rudy
you
Edwards?
still hear him all right, Wesley? No, just when you're going to yell, back it off, man. So, the different level, that's the main event, the Mid-South talk. Check it out, Mid-South in the main event. Let's get some people calling in here. Let's get this phone call out real good. We know what it is going to be. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome in our, what would you call him, like our proxy host or something? Like, I mean, he's here every week with us. Franklin Lee, man, he's a lover. He's a supporter.
Let's see what he calls himself.
Okay, what's he going to call him? Let's welcome in Franklin Lee. Uh-oh. Okay, here we go. Frank, hey, man, you loud. Hold up. Hello? Frank?
Yeah, I'm still here, John.
Oh, I got you, man. I got you. So, holler at me. Let me know what's going on.
All right. Well, first and foremost, before I go anywhere, I'd like to give a special shout-out and thank you to Mr. Bad Brad Michaels, who 3 weeks ago was very kind enough to give me a shout-out when we were discussing the advisor and advisee
1
role.
second, Franklin. Hey, well, Rob Faust wants to parlay on to me that sitting in the crowd and being a star he has addressed numerous times. And that's not what I'm talking about, Rob. But just so you know and we know and everybody knows, probably 3-4 years ago we were addressing the sitting in the crowd and being a star with the Sanders and Tyson James and all of them back when we did our run way back. So that's just an ongoing repetitive thing, and that's not what I'm talking about. And that's not even what we talked about yesterday at Mid-South. So thanks for listening. I didn't say a damn thing about sitting in the crowd. Not a damn thing. You notice he's not telling me that's 1 or 2, right, Rob? That's because we went rated R tonight.
Yeah, we're rated R.
This is the Shootin Range. We're not keeping the gloves on anymore. If you want to watch, you saw the disclaimer before the show. You know that there is no telling what might be said on this show. So you may just want to think about that before you get on here, and we'll just take it from there. Now, Kenneth
Twitterless
Wagner.
Rob needs to get on the phone anyway. Come on, Twitterless Rob. Don't leave us hanging.
Yeah, Twitterless Rob, you're normally here. You need to call in. You ain't got the laryngitis this week, and that's a shoot.
Yeah.
Now, back to you, Franklin. Call Rob or I'm going to call you. I'll blow it up all night. If you don't answer, I'll call your wife, and then I'll make her put you on her phone, and then you'll get mad at me for that. But then you'll get on your phone because you don't want to be on her phone, and then you'll call me back from your phone, and then you can be mad, but you'll be on the show. Now, what's up, Franklin?
Oh, I just wanted to first say thank you and give a special
I need a water.
shout-out,
I need a water.
Mr.
Franklin,
Hello?
you do realize we haven't talked about anything tonight yet, right, Franklin? Like, so once you get past this shout out to Bad Brad Michaels, I'm kind of wondering where you're gonna go, because if you start getting off topic, which there isn't one yet, I did not say anything about sitting in the crowd, Rob. If you would have listened yesterday, you would have remembered. I did not say one thing about sitting in the crowd yesterday. Did I say anything about guys sitting in the crowd?
I don't think so.
I don't either. I do remember saying something about guys walking through the front door. I don't remember saying anything about guys sitting in the crowd. But now, go ahead, Franklin.
Well, anyway.
Where's that
I just
water?
wanted to-
Keep going, Franklin. Keep going. Talk.
Okay. I just wanted to tell Mr. Michaels that I really appreciated the shout-out he gave me 3 weeks ago, and that, Mr. Michaels, you are indeed a true class act, sir.
Time out, Franklin. Let me bring in my man, everyone. Let's welcome Twitterless Rob. Twitterless
What up,
Rob.
baby?
What up, baby? Yeah. Okay. For 2 minutes before you start to cussing me out, I'm going to let Jermaine and you handle the Franklin call, because I need to take care of something real quick, Frank. And
All
then when
you
I
want to
come
do
in,
is get some water.
well, why you got to,
Man,
either way.
yep,
All right, I'm going to
yep,
do that,
yep.
and y'all do that. Franklin, Brad heard the shout out. I will be able to hear whatever you're saying, so watch your mouth.
Franklin.
Man.
Franklin, man.
All right, so
You don't ever get this time right here, man. I'm giving it to you. I'm giving it to you right here. If I'm holding the reins down, you get some time. What is on your mind? What do you want to tell the fans out there?
Well, I'd just like to fill in some key points in regards to the question that was brought up a few moments ago, size and does it matter? And
Yeah.
I think once upon a time it did, especially in the 80s when you had very huge guys like King Kong Bundy, the One-Man Gang, Andre the Giant, Big John Studd, just to name a few. But then as we got into the 90s, and people started getting smarter and smarter. Being a big man is great and all, but I guess as fans got smarter, they started wanting more out of the performers than just being big. I mean, they had to have some substance to go with that size, and unfortunately, that's when the era of the big man kind of lost its way. So I was wanting to know what your thoughts were on that subject matter, Jermaine.
Twitterless Rob, would you like to hit this dude with some knowledge for me?
Man, I think he has a couple of good points. What I'll say, I'll bottom line it real quick. It depends on your philosophy and how you look at wrestling. Now, as far as like if you're talking just strictly like WWE or wrestling on television, the size, how much size matters. That started going away with the end of what we call kayfabe. Because if you look at it, there's a reason. If you watch a fight, a boxing fight, or a UFC, there's a reason there are weight classes. And once because kayfabe, we're trying to present this, it's like it's the real deal. And so once that was done away with, I mean, that's when you saw your Benoits and your Eddie Guerreros and those type fellas that are kind of shorter in stature start winning belts. And Now you got your Brian Danielsons and people like that. I just that's my contention is once kayfabe went by the wayside, then the size, how much size mattered, kind of went along with that.
Kevin Nash stated in an interview a few years ago that he felt Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero winning the heavyweight championships killed the business.
Killed the
Do you
business.
agree with that?
If you're saying if it like again, it just depends on what philosophy you're coming from. If you want to present wrestling like a legitimate contest, then yes, it does kill the business. If you're just going to be like, hey, it's a play, guys, here, watch us have a bad sitcom, then yeah, then no, that doesn't matter.
Ric Flair wasn't that big, man. He was the standard bearer in the NWA.
Dude, he was over 6 feet tall. He was over 220 pounds. That's a pretty big dude.
Is a pretty big dude. I have to agree there. He is not 5'9", huh? I guess that's the average independent star now, right?
Shoot, they wish. No, man, they're pretty small. I think. I mean, when I'm a dude, man. I mean, you know me. I'm 6'2". Now, I weigh 300 pounds or so, and I'm like ginormous compared to the vast majority of guys. So 6'2". I mean, I'm not that big, like legit. But man, I tower over most of the guys that I come across in the wrestling business.
That is true. Twitterless Rob, you got anything you want to get out your chest? Anything you want to shoot about? This is the Shootin Range, and the crowd is growing. It's growing tremendously. I'm looking at the numbers rise.
Man, nothing in particular. I'll be happy to address, like earlier, what John said. I don't want to talk about it till he gets back because that is something that he did touch upon. It was a very short part of his speech, but he did say it. So
man,
we'll talk about that.
The Oakland fan fact man said he didn't say anything about it neither.
Man, were y'all just not listening? When he talked about coming through the front, immediately following coming through the front, he talked about going out there and then intermingling with the crowd, which I would, maybe he didn't say the word sitting in the crowd, but he did talk about intermingling with them, like after they're done and after the show and stuff like that. He did too bring that up.
Oklahoma fact man. I mean, you listening on the Shootin Range. I don't get no pew. But anyway, you're listening, man.
Anyway, I don't even think it wasn't even a big part of the speech though, so I don't want to get like
twisted
off on that one little thing.
Nah, I wasn't even gonna ask about that. If he's got something he wants to shoot about, I'd like to hear it, man. I'm sitting here, my host done took off for some water. I think he left for obviously more than water now, and now I'm sitting here. I can't talk about the main event. I'm being put on blast. What's going on? People, help a brother out. We on the Shootin Range, man. Let's.
Well, here's another shoot.
I have a question for you, actually.
What's up?
Have you received any kind of feedback or comments regarding your rant last week?
No. All I've gotten is positive reviews from anyone who listened to it that wasn't those guys. Other than that, nothing, which is fine by me.
Crickets, man.
Crickets.
Well, here's another question and topic that we can talk about while we're waiting on John, and that is tag team wrestling. Is it becoming a dying art in the big leagues? Because I've noticed over the last several years that tag team wrestling in the big leagues isn't as great and as hot as it was back in the 80s and the 90s.
Well, nothing is as hot as it was.
Late 90s. Yeah. It's been a lost on dying art since the late 90s. I mean, even then, it was already kind of on a decline. For sure. I mean,
what if I were to tell you I like the tag teams they have now? I like their tag team matches. Am I going to be ruled as a bad guy? Do I get the wagging finger? Because they've got about 9 tag teams now.
Tell me what you like about them.
I don't know. I find entertainment value in the Real Americans. I like Cesaro and Swagger. I like the Rhodes Brothers. I think that's pretty cool. I'm cool with the Usos. You never go wrong with a Samoan team, as far as I'm concerned. Like, hey, they're a Samoan team. That's pretty cool to me. The Shield.
Yeah, I just bringing that up to interrupt you real quick and talking about the Samoans. You're right, man. can never go wrong with the Samoan team. And that's what like I've learned over my years in the business. If there was ever a situation where they said, "Hey man, you got to have this fight," and you can pick a couple of people to come with you, you can guarantee you they're going to be Samoans that I'm picking.
Oh yeah.
Men or women.
It doesn't matter either.
It don't matter, man. I take a Samoan chick in a heartbeat. Have you seen that I think her name's Layla Tampa or something in TNA? She's like 6'3" and thick and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I do some things with that. I do some things,
Yeah,
man.
Who's the niece of the Barbarian?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's action right there. So I mean, there's a few things I like about.
Back to your tag team deal, man. What I would say is, because as you probably know, I rarely watch WWE TV these days. I've been turned off to it for quite a while, for various reasons, and we want to discuss that. I'll be more than happy to. But what I have watched lately, and like I'm familiar with the teams that you did talk about. They're actually all legit teams, which I don't think they've had that many legit tag teams in quite some time.
Now they said,
it's always been. Go ahead.
No, they said Triple H wanted to be behind the tag team division. So bam, next thing you know, we got a bunch of teams that actually have names, and they look alike, and they do tag team wrestling. I mean, I don't understand what.
Something I was going to bring up too. Is I forget which match it was. It might have been one of those Rhodes Boys matches, but the actual the wrestling, the style of match, I don't know if you've picked up on this, Jermaine, but it's a little bit different than the way they've been doing tag matches over the last decade or so. Like they're actually including, the psychology of what I would consider to be kind of a more classic tag match, and I noticed that. I didn't know if that, cause like again, I don't watch every week or whatever. So, is that kind of a trend? Has that been ongoing?
Oh,
have you noticed that?
Definitely. If you watch a tag matchup on TV on any show they have right now, that ring is going to look funny because it's cut off. That's what's going to happen. That is what's going down all the time now. So, I don't know. I think you should watch it. I think you should check it out before you throw out that it's not really there. I want you to actually tell the people why you don't watch it anymore.
Man, and I get heat for it all the time, but I probably, I don't know, about the mid 2000s. It had been going on for some time, but man, it turned away from being wrestling in my eyes to being a wrestling TV show to being a really bad variety show. With terrible acting, and maybe some athletic, showy type stuff in between is what they called the wrestling during that time. And I don't know. I think we had a conversation. If you remember a while back, if you watched some of you guys watched the Legends of Mid-South DVD that they put out, and I was happy about that coming out because a lot of younger guys kind of know what I grew up on, like what. Because I didn't grow up on WWF. That Mid-South is what I mainly watched, and then World Class Championship Wrestling from Dallas along with that. And it was just a much different way of doing business. And even though kayfabe was broken or whatever, and I think you've heard me say this, I still maintain that you can present the product like that, because if you go to the movies, they don't tell you, there's not like a disclaimer before the show begins that hey, this is just a movie. You can still present it like it's a athletic competition. And if you look at what the biggest pay-per-views right now, they're MMA the UFC pay-per-views. They're like killing everybody. And man, people care about those kind of issues, man. They care about that, and I still think that it's a viable option to to make to shoot those kind of angles where and it's not just walking around like doing kind of bad vignettes all day.
You mentioned when you go to the movies, they don't inform you that the movie isn't real. But man, I think that has something to do with the fans that enjoy wrestling or don't enjoy wrestling. Because if I tell someone my favorite movie is Independence Day, nobody tells me, man, you know that shit wasn't real, right? No one has ever said that to me. When I get to talking about the aliens in there, and Will Smith had some funny lines, and he shot up some people, and he took the alien with him, and then they saved the whole world. Never do I hear, man, that's just some fake old stuff, man. No, and that's exactly what the most wrestling fans get when they say they like wrestling. Oh, you like that bullshit. That's what they get. Yeah, I get to cuss now. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah. The thing about that though is, man, like if you're still getting that kind of comment, that just shows the kind of idiocy of the person saying it. Because like, again, everybody, I think, there's some old school fans still around. That, I think we run into them at certain promotions that they still believe, and that's cool. But I think for the most part, that cat's already out of the bag, and that's not the issue. And that's what I mean. Like, if we can go watch Independence Day and talk about the aliens and stuff. I maintain that, hey, we can still present the product like it is, like it's was always meant to be presented. Keep the production value. Keep, I don't know. I just think about how, like, could you imagine like what some of the most famous angles in wrestling, like in the big, in the 80s and 90s, how would those look if we had presented like with today's technology, today's production value, man, it'd be big time. I don't dig on turning over, and again, what I consider to be a bad variety show with TV writers putting words in everybody's mouth, which I don't think that's contested at all. I would rather watch, if that's what I'm going to watch, I would rather watch like Saturday Night Live or something.
Well, I think I can understand where you're coming from on this one here, Twitterless Rob, because I have noticed that over the last several years, that with regards to the WWE or TNA, it's become more about the drama and not enough of the wrestling, whereas opposed to IZW, which I absolutely love and adore, it's the other way around, which is more wrestling and less drama, which for old school fans like you and I, we can relate to, because like yourself, grew up with championship wrestling from Florida, Georgia championship wrestling, world class, continental, you name it, I pretty much watched.
Good point.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he cut out.
Yeah.
Ah, man, what's happening? What's going on?
I skipped water.
You just skipped water and went to Bud Light?
I did.
We got candy in here and stuff. Man, I've been holding it down. Me, Twitterless Rob, we got Franklin on here still, and we have been holding it down. But man, I think it's time for you to go ahead and inject that knowledge now, man. Inject that wisdom.
Okay.
Drop that dime. Lay that
Twitterless-
smack down.
Twitterless Rob,
Yes, sir.
you hear me all right?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Do we have a delay?
We hadn't had a delay.
Probably.
If a delay
Probably.
came,
Is it taking you a second to hear me?
I'm like, on the phone right now? No, I can hear you right now.
Oh, okay. Franklin, how you doing?
Just down on yourself.
Oh, I'm all right, man. Have y'all enjoyed your conversation?
Ah, man, I've been cool, man. Twitterless Rob, he's the man. Franklin's bringing in some insight from a fan's perspective, so I'm cool with it.
Okay. Well, Franklin, anything else to say?
Well, I'd just like to give a plug out to all you folks listening out there in YouTube land. Don't forget, Chaotic Christmas this coming Saturday, live from the Impact Arena. You better be there because you know I will be.
Right on. All right. Okay, Twitterless Rob, Jermaine, we're going to continue. What have we covered? What subjects? Because while I was gone,
Man, we're
as
talking
you
about tag team wrestling.
as you can see, I was on a mission. Candy, or here. I guess you're not watching, Rob, but we now have in front of us Bud Light, Kit Kats, M&M's with peanuts, Snickers, Ring Pops. It's going down. So,
So you brought out the stash.
do what?
So you brought out the stash.
Yes. The snack down stash. Oh, we got to turn the collars up. Talk again there, Twitterless Rob.
What's up? Can you hear me? Are
Yeah.
the levels where they need to be?
I believe.
Am I being broadcast to the people?
Yeah, I think I can hear you on one of our monitors. Either way, it's time to get in. It's time to get in the meat of this show. What did we say we had covered? Anything on the list?
Man, we briefly got on the size. Size went into tag team wrestling. We gave our opinions on that matter a little bit. Man, we just been shooting it, Hanging
Just
and
been
banging.
shooting it. By the way, I did get some backup from the Oklahoma fan Fact Man. I'll give everybody 3 guesses who that is. The first 2 don't count.
Oh, yeah, really.
But he said, I don't remember you addressing sitting in the crowd. I remember him talking about coming in through the front, but not sitting with fans. So that's 1 for the good guys, 0 for Twitterless Rob. So, now, Rob, first off, can I tell you I love you? I truly do.
I love you too.
My love has grown for you. I want you to know that if I was into that type of thing, my man crush, it'd probably be on a guy kind of like you.
You like them soft, huh?
Yeah, I'm big. So, man, I'm just saying, Rob's my guy. And yes, I have heard you talk about the whole sitting in the crowd, Rob, as well as Gary and Brad and myself. And that's why I say that's one that I think has been harped on for years. That specific wording of it and what goes on there is because that's just always been an issue. And I mean, we've known that part of it was an issue. Hell, we fought against that for 10 years. That is so loud. I'm just saying, yeah, it can be heard. It's funny. Does everybody hear that?
There's action going
Yeah.
Oh, man. So,
I think the dead people in the graveyard down the road heard that one.
okay, so when you say the different levels of an independent wrestler, Jermaine, I'm just assuming that you're thinking back on some of the conversations we've had.
Now, this is actually a topic that Bad Brad Michaels and you were touching on at the end of last week's show, where I believe it was Joey Corbin or something. I don't know the guy, but his level on the independent scene right now was get as much money as possible.
Okay, the different stages.
Yeah.
Where are you at in your stage as an independent wrestler?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right, I remember that. Just the way I guess that's the same thing, the different levels of an independent wrestler. But then again, that might be 2 different questions. You want to talk about the different levels, you can probably talk about guys that actually sell themselves and can make you money and guys that are solid, decent hands and they're needed to make everything work.
For free and just show up.
What?
Our guys that are out there are happy to work for free and show up and they're just there, because they think they might get, their mom might come to the show and see them wrestle.
Yeah, your phone sounds like butthole, Rob. I don't know if you're like holding it between your face and your shoulder or what's going on, but it keeps changing.
Sorry about that. Is that better?
Oh, man, that is magnificent. Will you restate what you just said?
I just, you were naming off different levels, and I was naming off one of my favorite ones, guys that they're just happy to work for free, and show up anywhere, and no matter what's on the show or what kind of show it is, just because they think that their mama or somebody is going to get to see them wrestle.
And they do exist, and they should exist. Again, they are a necessary element. So there are different levels of just being an independent wrestler, not even getting up to the WWE level, which they're independent wrestlers, so they would be included in that. So I take that back. Everyone seems to fail to grasp that statement, but it's true. They are independent wrestlers. That's one thing where I'm like, people are like the indie scene, and I'm like, dude, in all reality, everything is the indie scene. There's just a really big high one, but that's a different discussion. We'll just stick with they're the pros and we're the indies, which is still pros because they sign us to the pros. But anyways, There are the different levels. So what I'm going to say Jermaine is wanting us to talk about are the different stages of an independent wrestler. Like, and I get that because we have had that discussion before. Brad, Jermaine, Rob, I believe, probably had that discussion with me. Aaron, Seth Allen, just several performers. I think we all go through different stages of a career, and those stages are all relative to the person that's going through them. They'll all last a significantly different amount of time based on who's going through that. Not everyone's going to go through the stages in the same order. Not everyone's going to necessarily progress through every stage because one of those stages is being done. One of those stages is not caring anymore or just being gone from the business. And some people never reach that stage.
Should the people who do reach that stage, should they actually be allowed to continue to badmouth the business even though they've left it? Should we in the business still be listening to their opinion despite the fact that they're nowhere around it?
I think their opinions, and this is just my opinion, I think that if you have worked in the business and gained some sort of respect from the people within the business, because stature goes into everything. None of us likes to admit that, but in any sport that we've ever been a part of or thought about, who you listen to, a lot of that went into their stature, especially if they were someone from the past. If it was some jabron, that was up trying to give you the big talk or whatever, you might just kind of, but if it's a legend, a Hall of Fame, or a guy that had just a 15-year solid career, you know what I mean? So there's different levels there too. That all goes into it. And it also depends on what they're talking about. I think to the extent of once you've been a part of it, can you always talk about the basic principles and fundamentals of it? For sure. It's kind of like Al said, wrestling's always going to be about the outcome. That's never going to change. In the end, no matter what Vince does to it, no matter what Dixie does to it, no matter what Ted may have done to it, no matter what we do to it, it's all going to revolve around the outcome. Because that's always in the end going to be what sells people tickets to come watch your production. We've always said the production and all that is secondary to what's in the ring, and that will always ring true. You can go out and just put guys in the ring and have a show with minimal production and do well and draw crowds. That is not beyond the realm of possibility. We've seen it happen. It still goes on now. The production side of it is something, as I said, an incentive given by the performer's output to the promoter to say, hey, if I do this production and make the show better, then I'm doing my part for my performers and making it an even more professional show. Then we'll make it more inviting or appealing to the masses. It's also going to open up different streams of revenue. So you get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I'm with you, man. Just keep preach. Preach.
What was I just talking about?
You
regarding what Jermaine was asking about people out of the business, my answer would almost certainly echo what John said.
Yeah,
I think it would really depend
who and what they're talking about. Yeah, if they're trying to come at me and talk to me about the modern day business per se, certain areas of it, I'm going to blow them off and I'm not going to listen. If they want to talk to me about the basic things that are always going to work and not work, that's an easy discussion to have. But the business in certain areas does change the structure within companies, the way it operates because of what it's doing for revenue. The way it conducts its business will change and evolve every day, every month, every year. And so when a guy's now not been a part of it for a while, if he tries to come back around and wants to start preaching at guys, there's only a certain amount of things he can preach at them about. He can't really preach at them about how you conduct your business because that's what you do. And then again, like I said, it depends who it is, who and what. Those are the two factors that would go into it for me. Who are you and what are you talking to me about?
all right.
What is your realm of knowledge? Because even then, so bam. Now, why did we even get on that? You just asked that question, should guys? You were just like, bam. Oh, the stages. You said the guys. I was talking about the stages, and that was the final stage. The whole when you're done with it and you're out. And so, first off, I want to thank everyone again for listening and being here with us every Monday night, 8 p.m. Central, all the way up to 9:30 Central. Everyone else in your time zones, you know what that means. Here at the Shootin Range, we thank you for your devoted support. Our listenings every week are in the hundreds. We're pushing for the thousands. After that, who knows, the 10,000s. We really just want this thing to fly. Man, I want people to be interactive. I really do. We get comments from some people. We get quite a few listeners, but not a lot of comments, not a lot of phone calls per se. Man, let's get interactive. Let's talk. You hear what we're talking about. And I mean, shoot, we could talk about it all day. But anyways, back to the stages. I just want to give everyone a shout out and say thank you, all the people that are out here listening right now. That was that final stage, and you want to know, bam, should they be able to do this? Well, there's my opinion. You heard Rob's. Thank you, Rob. He said his would pretty much mirror mine, so me and Rob are so much alike.
Well, Twitterless
I'm just
Rob,
cuter.
he straight up, he came. Like, he was done with the business, and then I'm sure he still spoke on the business, so I knew that was going to, be a core with him immediately. He was someone who was out of the business that spoke to me, and I asked Aaron Neal, because we were at a restaurant. I went to the bathroom. I talked to him. I said, man, should I be listening to Twitterless Rob here, man? I mean, is he going to be on this stuff? And Aaron was like, yeah, anything that dude says to you, you should listen. I was like, oh, okay, I'll listen then, because I have no problem listening. Don't think I asked that question because I'm big-headed and I'm doing this right now, and I don't care what no one else has to say. That's not the case. I just want to make sure it's coming from a credible source.
That's all
that
source.
was, a valid source. That's all that was.
I'd be mad at you if you didn't.
Damn right. There you go.
Rob, you got to stay on that phone, man. You sound so much better when you're up on it. You do.
You got it, baby.
You have big, deep man, sexy voice.
But
you do.
but
Listen to him. Be like, hey, Jermaine. No, you're not.
thank you.
He didn't even.
But okay, you answered about the last stage. Touch on the other stages and how you feel about them.
Man, there are so many.
Well, pick one.
Well, there's the when you first get in, man. Everybody, the majority. Not gonna say everyone. The majority of guys, I think, that get involved. The very first thought is, I want to go to the WWE.
Was that your first stage?
No, I was not in that stage. I think I had the thoughts of, oh man, it'd be cool, if it happened or if I got called. But legitimately, I got in for different reasons than other people, I think. And we've touched on that.
Yeah,
The fact that it was more to do with the relationship with my brother initially than it was to do with the business. I already had businesses going on locally and things going on in my life to where WWE wasn't a thought for me. I'm not in the majority there. My start in the business, my comeuppance in the business, if anyone has ever bothered to listen to the show or listen to what I've said about my beginnings in the business, they will realize rather quickly usually that my beginnings and comeuppance were much different than most. And my reasons for getting in, I think, were different than anyone's. I don't think I've ever heard of anyone getting in it for the same reasons I did. Most people get in it because, I want to be a wrestler. You know what I mean? And most of them is, I want to be a WWE wrestler. I can be a superstar. That's everyone's initial thought. Even the tardest of the tard will still be like, I could be WWE. You know what I'm saying? Jeffrey Parker thought he could be in the WWE. That dude was running around telling people he was the fake Sting. Yeah. Havoc. Wasn't Havoc running around telling people that he was the fake Sting? Was that him?
I think he tells people that he had some shots in WC. I don't know. I'm not going to get it because I never really talked to the dude about it.
I'll retract that statement because I don't know, but I've heard rumor. So statement retracted. I'll shoot on myself.
If there's any fact out there, let us know.
Yeah, the lines are open.
The lines is open.
Any rumor that we ever speak of, if you are privy to information that would make said rumor fact and give us a reason to shoot on said rumor, bam, the number's right there. The YouTube link is up. All you have to do is go click it. You can comment and let us in. You can call. You can be live on the shooting range.
That's that
I'll
strawberry
say
flavored gun.
if they can confirm or deny. So if they can confirm or deny a rumor, man, please call in.
Oh yeah, if you can
You know,
kill
it
a
doesn't-
rumor, if you can squash it,
Squash.
we're all about squash, and that's what the shooting range is all about. Yes, we fertilize and we squash whatever needs to be done. We're on both sides of the fence.
Shooting. Yeah.
So that's the first stage for the majority. Is I love wrestling. That's another story. Someone else is gonna have to call in and tell that story, but the I love wrestling story. Anyways, that guy. You know, man, I don't even know how to go into that guy because that's kind of a delicate thing, man. Because
Are you talking about Mark? Are you talking about Mark?
No, you get on the phone, Rob. I cannot understand you.
Are you talking about Mark?
No. I'm just saying. No, Mark wasn't like that. Mark, I think, started out wanting to be a manager and just decided to be a
No,
rep.
I'm not talking about Mark Wilson.
Oh, you're just talking about a Mark.
No. I'm talking about Mark.
Oh yes, the story. Yes, the I love wrestling story. Man, I was like, what the fuck are we talking about? So, okay, well, I was like, all right, I get it. Yes, that's the story I'm talking about. And I want to say Mr. Saturday Night may have been with him when that went down. We may have to get a guess.
Did Barry witnessed that?
I think I'm gonna find out. See, that's what I'm saying.
That's that rumor.
These are those
That's
types
those
of things
rumors.
that need to get validated or denied. I do know it's out there. I do know that there are people that were witness to this incident that could validate it, that could verify, and all they have to do is call that number, and we'll let them do it live. But I was just gonna say those guys it's a delicate stage because that stage lasts for a different period of time for people because everyone initially thinks they can be a WWE guy. Everyone, or TNA or ROH or something, that they can find some kind of Japan, whatever it might be.
Mexico.
They think they're going to be a star. Puerto Rico, wherever they think they can go, that's their initial thought process is I'm going to be a star. So then you find out that there are only so many guys that legitimately have that shot of going to that level. And I think a lot of guys think that getting that call, being like, hey, come up here for Monday and Tuesday, because I put Jermaine over for it, so I'm just going to get out there and say it. I think everyone thinks that just because they get that call, that means that the WWE is taking a serious look at them. I don't think that's what it means. What I think it means...
Not necessarily true.
Huh?
I said not necessarily true, right?
No,
No,
and that's
it's
what
not.
I was going to say. I was going to
It's
say,
not.
I think the real truth of that is they're always looking for 3 or 4 extras. Now, and someone did say something recently. It is always an opportunity. Yeah. Okay, everything.
It is.
Everything in life is an opportunity. So, Jacob Greer, you're the man that said that every time you go there, it's an opportunity. I was reading the thread, and man, everything in your life, every chance you get should be an opportunity. So, yes, that statement was 100% valid. Now, do I think that just because you get that call to go there and be an extra, per se, if they need someone to play security or someone to get chopped in the back or someone to do this or that, a la Brandon Groom, who's been on TV several times, but never been signed to a deal, never been given that contract or that shot, basically been brought in for years just to be used on TV every once in a while, which, hey, that's more than a lot of us will ever do. So applause all around for Brandon Groom, legitimately. You know what I'm saying? Then there's the next level, Brent Albright, who goes and makes it to TV, and if not for unfortunate circumstances, may have succeeded. That could have changed the career path that he was on. That's something I don't even want to get into. But so you quickly realize you're either one of these guys that legitimately has a shot, and if you get those calls, then what that means is you're putting forth the effort and you're still in that stage. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the only reason I went into that.
The stage I'm currently
Because
in.
you're still in that
Yeah,
stage. Jacob
sure.
Greer's in that stage. Double D's in that stage. Damon Windsor's in that stage. Erica's in that stage. There's several people that have. Aaron Neal has his stuff up there, I believe, still. So there are several people that are still in that stage of thinking that they can go to the WWE, or thinking that that opportunity still exists for them. Now, that's cool. That's the first stage. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone goes through that stage, minus a small percentage. And I fall in that percentage. I didn't go through it. I've never attempted to go with it, or follow it. I have local businesses that are successful, that allow me a nice life, allow me to run a very good show, and help talent that I hope will one day make it to the WWE and make a career for themselves and be successful. It allows me to do that and help people with that, and then also be enjoy wrestling myself and be a part of it and try to be the best I can be at it. Because that's another stage I'm gonna get into. Because once you get out of the, okay, I think I have a legitimate shot at the WWE, or I think that opportunity still exists for me. Once you get out of that and you realize it doesn't, then it's like, okay. Because we've had those guys that realize WWE's not a possibility, TNA's not a possibility, ROH is just that it's not going to happen. And if it is, it's going to be a whole lot more work than they want to put in, and way more chances than they're willing to give. Because they've put themselves in positions where they need to have a steady job. They need to be getting a 401 or a retirement set up, or that insurance, or they need to go a different direction in life, because they put themselves in a position where that's what they've got to start taking care of. Because the window closes for different reasons. If you go that direction in life, it can close up for you, or you just figure out, hey, it's not going to happen after so many years. But it all happens for everyone. You either decide you're going to quit going after that opportunity, or you just figure out that it's not there anymore. And once you do, then it's a whole nother thought process. It becomes, do I want to stay involved with wrestling, or am I done with it? Am I going to be bitter and upset that I was never able to get to that next level, that I was never given that opportunity, or that I was given that opportunity and didn't succeed? Am I going to let that jade me towards the business, or am I going to be thankful for every opportunity I was given and for how far I went? And then am I now going to try to stay and be a part of the business and be successful to the highest degree I can be, and help other people try to be as successful or more successful than I was? Because there are guys, we talk about it all the time. There are coaches in high school level and junior college level and probably junior high level and all that, and that were athletes on a lower level and got so far, but just couldn't get to that next level. And so then when they were done, they had the choice to either be bitter towards that sport and that arena and be done with it and away from it, or say, hey, I can take what I do have, and just because I necessarily wasn't good enough or athletic enough or whatever it might be to go there, got hurt, whatever it might be, doesn't mean that I don't know what this guy needs to do it. And he may have the talent, and he may get that window of opportunity that I didn't get. He may catch the right person's eye. Do I want to help someone else be successful to that level, and I can be a part of it that way? And you get a lot of people that decide, I'm done with it, and they're gone. And there's a third area of that too. As I say, there's then the people that just want to stroke their own ego, that once they decide that first stage is over, they want to come back every once in a while and have everything their way and get a couple month feud and the big blow off match with somebody, and then go away again for a while. And they plant little seeds in the locker rooms, because no matter what, man, this is a business of egos and always will be, and stature and stories. And I mean, it's a work. It's the business, baby. We all build our image. We all work it. We all live it. We all decide what our position is in this business. And so there's a lot of these guys that just want to stroke their ego, and they come back, and during that couple months they plant little seeds of how great they were and the legends they are and blah, and then they disappear for a while. And then, like the legend, they float back in a little later, and they get their couple month feud again and their big blow off while they planted some more seeds and told some more stories, and then they float away again. And then when they're ready to have that ego pumped up again and remind everyone, they'll float back in. Hey man, had an idea I could do this and da 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 da, and I'll get in this match and boom, and I'll be gone again for a while. So there's that guy, you know. So there are three levels once you get over that first one, and that, or the stages. There's three levels of that stage, and there's the I'm done with it, I'm bitter, and I'm not gonna watch it anymore. I'm not gonna be a part of it anymore. Cause I hate the business because I didn't get everything I wanted out of it, because the business owed me. It was supposed to do everything for me. Wrestling was supposed to change my life. It was supposed to make me a star. It was supposed to give me everything I never had. Well, fuck you, dude. Fucking business doesn't owe anybody anything. You owe everything to the business for the opportunity that you were given to get everything that you could out of the business. Doesn't owe you a fucking thing.
All right, whoa.
So,
All right. I know I ain't the director of time, but I know this
okay.
Mid-South talk.
So, hold on. We got somebody on here. Hold on. Who we got here?
Am I on?
Yeah, this is the Shootin Range. Who do I got?
All right, man. This is Harrison Stone. I didn't know if I was on or not.
Oh, shit, Harrison Stone. All right. Well, you got to let me finish my rant real quick. All right, Harrison? Newest addition to the IZW roster, Harrison Stone. Right now he's a commentator. You got to be off the speakerphone, Harrison. You got to be up on it, man. You got to put the bass in. You got to be with us like Rob. I got to get on you like I did Rob. Now,
hold on. Let me swap off my headphones real quick and we get on the regular phone.
Okay. So now where I was at was there's ego stroker, and I think everybody got everything I was saying. And either way, you get past that, and so then, or you got the bitter guy because wrestling didn't give you everything I was owed, and I think we saw where I got with that. Bang, 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 bang. You know what I'm saying? So I think we know how I feel about that guy. And then there's the third guy that I talked about, the guy that says, hey, man, I'm thankful for every opportunity I was given. I'm thankful that I was just given the opportunity to be a part of an awesome business, of something bigger than me, of something beautiful and wonderful and great, because that's what the business is when it's all working and hitting on every cylinder, and you truly have a family of people in your locker room that just want it to be the best thing ever. Because legitimately, man, it can't just be about money. I don't care what anyone says, even in athletics and everything. You have to love it to a degree, and you have to want to succeed at it, and you have to understand how to build a camaraderie and a family atmosphere in your locker room, a family dynamic for everything to work right. I truly believe that. I don't care what business, what sport. That's even at a business. You know, so just everything involved, that's a different thing. So there's those guys that are so thankful for that, and they say, man, I just still want to be a part of it. It doesn't matter if it's up here or it's here. Man, you hear Daniel Bryan, and I hope he's telling the truth. But you know he's not going anywhere. But when he cuts the promos about how I'll go back to being in the National Guard armories working in front of 15 people or 50 people or 75 or 100, because he did it. He understands it. That dude truly loves the business. And, man, I'm sorry to do what they do and get beat up the way they do. I know they get paid good money, but man, have you seen them later on in life? You know, you have to love it. So, Oakland fan Pac-Man said he's heard the love wrestling from Barry, so he believes he was there. So that's that stage of the business. And I think there's really only those three stages. There's that, I think that I can be a WWE guy, and then you eventually get past that, and then it's okay. Now that I'm done with that, and I know that if I stay in wrestling, this is it really. The indie scene, then it's, those three eras that you go through. I'm either done with it, I'm going to stroke my own ego every once in a while, or I'm going to help the business. I'm going to go and try to be a part of a company and help the guys in that company, therefore helping the company, which we'll get into in my speech. And then once you get into that area, obviously it's what do you do with it? I mean, if you're done with it, you're just done with it. It's do you ever get over that and come back? There's the ego stroker. It's does he just continue to be like that until no company will allow him that opportunity anymore? Or does he get tired of it and just be done with it? Or does he one day wake up and decide, oh, I want to help the business? And then the guy that says, I'm going to help the business, it's how much is he willing to do to help it? To what level is he willing to go to? What's his aspirations going to be on this level? How much is he going to want to help a company? What can he do to help a company? So that's just all kinds of different discussions. We don't have the time really with everything else. We'll get in it, but because I'm saying, you look at me, I'm a guy that's that level of I just want to help the business and help guys. I spent years, like I said before, not to toot my own horn, but sacrificing a lot of control to learn, to then get into control of the show, to then learn that side of it. I learned from a worker's side and from being underneath Gary and Brad and Bernie and Aaron and a lot of guys and just getting my lessons. Then I had to come up and I had to take all that over from being the guy that learned from all of them. I still don't think people ever understand how hard that is to then have to kind of, boom, flop up there over top of all of them and say, hey, guess what? Now I'm going to run stuff. So then you have to go ahead and start calling the shots and be accountable for all those shots and and then continue to be successful at it and make the right calls and learn from them and learn more and more. And then eventually you get to where you now think you've been through enough, 10 years, weekly shows, different characters, different stories, all the different scenarios, that you feel like you can help guys. You feel like you can teach them. You feel like you've had enough success and you've seen enough successes, and you've even started to see individual successes with guys starting to get out there more and do things. So anyways, different discussion, but I think I answered those because then the next stage after that is obviously being done, because that second stage in there is obviously it just lasts until you're done, or you're not. If you're that guy that's going to help the business to whenever you maybe die in the business, and maybe you're never done with it. So I don't know. That's how I feel. Where Rob, I went on that little rant. Nobody really cut in, so I'll give y'all about 5-10 minutes or so to speak on that. Then I'll give my little Mid-South talk that I gave yesterday, and then we'll do our bullseye of the week, and we'll get our rollout video if we have it tonight. I do know we've had some technical difficulties with that, so okay, we think we've got it. So, everyone, you've heard what I've said about the different stages of a wrestler's career. And obviously I can't talk about the stage of if you get to the WWE because I have no idea. You get up there, I would imagine it's the same thinking. I mean, you're only going to make so much money. I think Randy Orton, I don't like to really talk about the big stuff because I don't want to be like I know things or I don't. I don't want to even get into that, but I think you've read interviews and stuff where even he and other guys have said, hey, I've got a cutoff point. I'm only willing to do this for so long. I'm only willing to give so much for so long. So, okay, can you hear me better now? Okay. So anyways, that's where we're at. I think I spoke about all the stages. I think we know how I feel about them. So now we can get y'all's opinions on them. And if you agree, disagree, you got about 10 minutes. Let's roll.
I'm going to go ahead and let Rob shoot first.
And then I pretty much agree with what you said. I can only really speak to my own experience. I think a lot of people who didn't really talk to me or they didn't know the deal, like they probably assumed I was one of the end stages that you mentioned that I really wasn't. Well, the way I got to where I was directly related to number one. Because while you said that you think most everybody has that whole I'm going to go to WWE thing, but the thing is, and I hope that you both would agree, or all three of you would agree, is you can tell if someone's serious about that goal, about hey, I'm going to be a wrestler because this is what I'm going to do, by the actions that they take.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, it's real easy for someone to say, well, yeah, I watched Monday Night Raw and I'm going to be a wrestler. So yeah, it's real easy to do that. But are they are they going and like doing everything they can to make themselves better, to go be seen, or are they just going and wrestling that same once or two times a month at the one place that they started, and they can say that's what they want to do all day long, but are they doing things that are going to make that happen? Well, I did. I mean, I think my record kind of speaks for itself. And once I realized that, hey, because that was my goal all along. I'm going to make my living. I'm going to do this, and that's going to be my job, right?
Right.
Once I realized that I'm not, and that, hey, I had a family and I have to take care of my family, so I put that to the back burner. I wasn't bitter about what wrestling did or didn't give to me. I think I've told my closer friends that, I was so happy for the opportunities that I got, because I got to do and see stuff that like 99% of all guys don't get to do. So I was really pleased and thankful, and I looked back upon that with, like a happy heart. But the thing is, what I wanted to add, like where you were talking about, whether or not, people, the business owes people or whatever, I think I can bottom line it really at the end of the day, because no matter what your reasons for getting out, it really, at the end of the day, it becomes down to you were not willing to do what had to be done to get there. So whether or not that's because, hey, you have a family, or, hey, maybe you have the wrong attitude and you think somebody owes you something. Either way, at the end of the day, you don't make it to that level because you weren't willing to do whatever it took to get there. And at the end of the day, no matter what I say, or no matter what Twitterless Rob says, I didn't go and be a WWE superstar because I wasn't willing to do whatever it took to get there. Now, why or why not, that's debatable, but at the end of the day, that's the reason. And I think that's, the answer to that particular stage. But that's just my opinion.
Right on. Harrison?
J-May?
Well, you got like hundreds of thousands of people, guys that are around this country. They're all trying to gun for that one very hard spot to accomplish in the WWE. It gets to the point of, just like Rob was saying, who's got it and who doesn't have it, who's willing to take the sacrifice and who's not willing to take that sacrifice. It's very hard to tell, when you really got a family, if you got family and kids at the house, or just a wife, or just a girlfriend, or just a single guy who could afford to go out on the road and, and go accomplish what he's going out to do. But the fact of the matter is, when guys go out there every week and they're not putting forth their honest effort, and you guys have all said it before, you guys want nothing but show first guys. You want guys that are willing to, make sure that the show comes first, no matter what, no matter the weather, the egos, the whatever the case may be. And if every company put forth that kind of effort, just like you guys do, then you would have like a whole roster of guys all over the entire country that were willing to be show first guys that would eventually go on to be WWE guys, or be at least in consideration for WWE guys. I don't really pay attention to the corporate products. I never really have, but so I can't like speak on like what they take, what it takes to get there, what it doesn't. I know Rob does and that Brad Michaels do. But, for me, if it's not worth doing, putting 100% into, then it's not worth doing at all. I'm not the greatest guy in the world, never claimed to be. I've got so much room to work. But by the same token, I'm so happy where I'm at right now. I would give anything to be where I'm at right now. And, I'm one of the show first guys. I promise I would always be there. If I say I'm going to be there and do whatever I'm going to do, what it boils down to is you got a lot of guys that have a lot of drive. Casey Wolves, they've shown that forth. Bobby Starr in the last 2 years, he's really showing that forth. I hope that a lot of guys like look from, beyond the curtain, the guys that are there and seeing what they're doing and making work. You know what I mean? Like making, work.
Yeah.
And, putting forth that 100% effort every single time. Is basically what I'm saying, because if you don't put 100% in every single time, then you're not going to get out what you put in. You're not going to amount to anything. You're going to be one of the spucktards, excuse my language. You'll be one of those guys.
You get to say that now.
So
I think they have a deal and I don't mean to cut you off. I gotta let Jermaine get in because we're under 20 minutes on time right now, and I still have the Mid South talk to
I
give.
don't need to get in. I will
Are you
pass.
on the proper side of that?
Yeah, I will pass so we can get to the Mid South thing. So you can let him finish. You can say your piece, and then we can go.
I mean, I think I get his gist. I do. Do you have a lot more to say, Harrison, or?
No, I really don't. I was just trying to speak on what you guys were talking about. But no, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, I do. I appreciate it. Your opinion made a lot of sense. The show first thing. I have preached it. I do believe in it. Bobby Starr, KC Wolves are prime examples. You've recently come into the fold and said that you want to learn. I think that's awesome. Dude, that's one of the hardest things guys seem to have a problem saying is I want to learn. And it's like, shit, dude, we should all want to learn. I want to learn. You know what I'm saying? I learned.
I've been around for so long. And I'm nothing but willing to learn. Every single Saturday I come there, I am so willing to learn because I know that there's guys that have been there that have done things that I haven't done. And I don't necessarily want to be the absolute best, but I want to be up there.
Oh, man,
you
should
want
always
to be up there with the best.
Let me get you should always want to be the best. Everyone, if you're
I want to
be
the best, but go ahead.
No, I was gonna get with you. I think you're gonna bring up a discussion later. I think we got to have within a company, and I think I brought it up earlier. A different level of guys in there where you got guys that are solid hands that know they're not the main eventers per se, and I haven't really gotten into that discussion on here, Harrison, because that's where I think a lot of people's feelings will get hurt some when we have that discussion is because they don't want to admit it, but it's like every sports team, there's starters and there's the bench, and that doesn't change in wrestling. In wrestling, you got to have the starters. You got to have the main eventers. You got to have the guys that you put on the poster. You got to have the guys that the people are really going to pay to come see, but you got to have the guys that are the solid workers that – with good characters that help make the stories go with these other guys, and that's so weird because then you think, well, man, they're all going to be the stars, and well, they all are stars, but for some reason, the fans they gravitate to these particular ones significantly more than they do these others, and that's just a thing on this level. So you are right to an extent. I guess honestly, I'm going to say I'm proud of you for the statement you were about to make because that says that you are comfortable with the fact that if you're not necessarily a main eventer, but you end up getting to be a solid worker on a good show and making a good career out of that and having good matches with main event guys and helping build stories and such. I mean, if that's kind of what you're saying, then I think that's a big step that guys have to take if they want to have longevity in wrestling. And that's even on the WWE level. That's on our level. That's on any level. Because there's WWE guys that have said it, hey, and I think that's where a lot of guys get into because there's WWE guys that have said, hey, I was cool just making a living. I was cool just being a solid hand and making stories happen because that's what I got paid to do. And so then guys on this level...
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, Johnny Z. Don't get me wrong. I would love to be a top guy, but I'm good with just being a part of the show and being a show first guy.
And that's what I'm trying to
make.
That's what I'm trying to say. I've only got about 16 minutes. I'm 100% agreeing with you. I'm not changing your statement at all. Those guys that are solid hands that end up building stories and being a part of big time matches and just being there though and having a good career, dude, of course they want to be a main eventer all the time, and they end up being in main events at times. They're just not ever in main events. They're just there's John Cena and then there's Dolph Ziggler. There's Randy Orton and then there's Dean Ambrose, or help me out here. I don't watch the fucking TV enough.
Well, then there's Jinder Mahal and then there's Heath Slater.
Yeah, or there was whatever. There was back in the day, there's the different levels, man, and it all rotates and things happen. But that's just all I was gonna say is on the indie level, guys try to make all the excuses in the world for that system not to work. They try to be like, oh, well, I'm not getting paid for this, so I want to be in the main event. I want to be the top guy. Everybody wants to be the star on the indie scene, and it's like they don't get, dude, for a show to operate, you still have to have all the levels. You still have to have the guys that are the always main eventers, the guys that are sometimes main eventers, and the guys that are just not necessarily ever main eventers. You have to have all of those levels or it doesn't work. If everybody's a fucking main eventer, then who else do you have?
Well, it's just like the talk we had about life, man. We got to have some people that are out there on that line.
Hold
making
on.
the minimum wage.
Who else we got? Oh, yeah, the minimum wage talk. How do we bring real life into wrestling? It's so crazy. Who is this we have on the line with us?
Donnie Brooks.
Donnie Brooks, man. We are loading up tonight. We've got Harrison Stone. We got Donnie Brooks. We got Twitterless Rob all here with me, Johnny Z, and my co-host, Jermaine Johnson, live on the Shootin Range. Yeah. We're under 15 minutes. I have to get into the Mid-South talk real quick or we will not have time for it. I will try to do a somewhat condensed version of it so that we can hear from Donnie Brooks and so that we can get in our bullseye of the week. This whole cutting it down to a legit hour and a half for Wesley Bradfield has restricted me, but I will get used to it. So, Mid-South talk dealt with performers basically doing their job as a performer and selling themselves to therefore in turn give incentive to the promoter to do his job and sell them. Because that's what we have. You sell yourself, we sell you. In turn, that sells tickets. Bam! I know that's a huge, complex fucking theory, but, whatever. So, right?
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. Performers. A company is only going to be as good as you make it. Legitimately, I said it's like a job, it's like a marriage, it's like a car, it's like anything you have in life. If you don't give a fuck about it, if you don't put the effort into it, if you don't do the things necessary to keep it up to par, to keep it going strong, to keep it healthy, then it's not going to last. It's going to go to shit, it's going to be garbage, it's going to disappear. That's just a fact of life. And a promotion, a company is the same way. That goes for the promoter and the performer, but it's a twofold thing. They both have to do their part. And right now we're not talking about the promoter, we're talking about you. And we're talking about the fact that you as a performer have to give that promoter the incentive to do his part. And that means being a star, a performer, someone that people want to pay to come see. Because guess what? If they view you as their buddy from down the street or as the local tire repairman or as the local nurse or the stripes worker or whatever, then they're not going to pay to come see you. They're not going to view you as a star. They're going to view you as the guy they can hang out with whether or not they go to a wrestling show in their entire lives. So, to make them view you as a star, that requires effort on your part. That requires you to carry yourself like a star. Not only at the promotion and in the ring, but when you're going to the ring, whenever you're not in the ring, whenever you're outside. That means not coming through the front door. Guess who comes through the front door? Fans, not you. Performers, they come through the back door. They come to the locker room. They separate themselves from the fans. They also, when it comes to social media, I will reiterate Rob's point too, they don't sit in the crowd either. They don't, when their match is done, slide out the locker room side and go sit with their family in the crowd. This isn't a Sunday or Saturday barbecue. This is a professional wrestling show. Now, when it comes to social media, I see all you guys that have a worker's name on your page, but then you're sharing your personal life. You're a worker, a wrestler. Have a wrestler's page, then have a personal page. And that personal page should be private. Only your closest friends and family should actually know who you are. People that are in the business. Whatever you show to the public should be your character, what you want to sell. There's nothing wrong with that. It's what keeps you employed at whatever promotions you go to. And that isn't employment. You do get paid to do whatever it is you do at that promotion. It's a contract you have with that promoter. So you will only get paid for what you sell. And you have to do everything required to sell. Social media is such a huge thing nowadays. But so many people go to your pages wanting to see what you're doing in wrestling, and they find out some crappy shit about your personal life that no one cares about. That's not going to sell a damn ticket. If anything, it might turn people away because they're like, what? Who cares about this loser? You know? So, anyways, then when you come to the ring, why does everyone have to slap everyone's hand? I don't even allow my faces to do that, my wrestlers to do that. You know why? So that whenever I give meet and greets out before big shows and I ask fans to pay more money for those front row seats and to do that meet and greet, they have a reason to, because if my wrestlers are going around slapping everyone's hand or coming through the front door and talking to fans or going out and sitting in the crowd after their matches, if they're just one of the people, one of the guys, well, then why would anyone want to pay extra to come to an early meet and greet and get their autograph or a picture with them or be able to touch them or talk to them then? It's called being a star. I mean, there's just a way you do it. It's part of the process, legitimately, on any level. There's so many discussions we could have on that. But again, all of that goes into the reason I talk to you all about doing all that is the evidence I've laid out. The guys at my show, whatever people want to say, 52 shows a year as opposed to the monthly or bi-weekly shows that other places do, mainly monthly. Couple places do bi-weekly. So we're doing 52 live shows a year. Every one of those shows draws at least as much as any of those other shows, if not more on most nights. We have our low nights, like indie shows. Any indie show, we've had the 50s, we've had the 60s. It happens. But on the majority, out of those 52 shows, the majority of them will be 100 or more people, 125, a little more than that. The shows are very nice. Then we have 8 big shows a year that get 250 or more almost every single time. So this is a process we've been doing for 5 or 6 years straight now, the weekly process, and it has worked. And the guys on my show have made that possible by selling themselves. The gals on my show have done it. It wasn't just me. Yeah, I do TV commercials. Yes, I've improved the arena. Yes, I've found other ways to get revenue. Yes, I've put it on GFL to get money and sold the video. Yes, I've done numerous things with it. The reason I've been able to do all of that and I've been motivated to do it is because of the guys and the gals on my show that sell themselves, that carry themselves like stars, that sell themselves to the fans and keep those people coming and invested in our outcomes so that we can have a good show and we continue to have the best product in the area. And that's what we'll always strive to do. And as long as I have the talent that strives to do that, I'll always be successful. And I won't take the credit for it. I never will. I will give it all to them. I have no problem with that because they're the reason that I get to have IZW. So,
yeah.
that was the Mid-South talk. Now, we've got about 6 minutes and 47 seconds. I'm going to give you a minute 45, Donnie Brooks, to share your love with us, and then we got to go ahead and give our bullseye of the week. Are we going to have the video, Wesley Bradfield? Oh, let's do this. We don't have a lot of time. The video's a minute and 14 seconds, and I want you to know, Merry Christmas, everyone. We will be back next week, I guess, right before Christmas. We are going to do the show. Is that December whatever? Donnie Brooks hit it with us. That's next week, December 23rd. We will be back. We'll be doing it, but tonight is your Christmas present. Go, Donnie.
Okay, I'll talk a little bit about what I caught from what you said, and it goes out on a lot out here, especially. These guys will have the doors open at 7, and they'll have their trainers or trainees or whatever setting up the ring, and I'd say 50% of the crowd that's going to be there for the night is already there, just hanging out and bullshitting with people and walking around and going in the locker room and walking up to the ring and watching guys go over their matches. And then once the show starts, I look in the crowd and I'm like, all these motherfuckers are already here. What's the point of even having a show?
Right.
You might have sold 20, 30 tickets, and 90% of your crowd's already here. So what's the point of even having this show? We could have just had this show in your backyard. You went and paid rent on a gym. You went and paid rent on a gym or whatever the venue is, and it's for 60 of your guys' friends. Why are these guys even in the building right now?
You just called it all hostile and shit.
Yeah, you did. I love it. I love it.
It's just a lot of stuff in Cali, it's like I expected, you come to a city like Los Angeles, and you're like, okay, there's going to be some feds here that know what they're doing, and there's people here that are worse than stuff running in Tulsa. It's insane. They got like one real friend out here, like Pro Wrestling Gorilla. They do it right. They have lines outside their door. Nobody comes in but the performers and maybe the trainees sitting up the ring. No girlfriends come in before the show. None of your buddies are there. Your kids aren't jumping around in the ring. And that's like one of the few feds out here that do that. And it gets old after a while because I remember going to IZW when you show up at the building, there's us. There ain't nobody else there. Maybe Steph's there setting up the snack down, and maybe Quincy's there. But other than that, there ain't your friends running around. There ain't your girlfriend sitting in the front row just BSing with all the guys. It ain't happening
man,
like that.
it might not be Wednesday, but it's business time. Anybody knows about Flight of the Conchords knows where that came from. But when Saturday comes, you are right. I'm going to have to step in here, Keith. You're 100% right. When you come to the IZW, the Impact Arena, the IZW, it's horrible. The Impact Arena, it is business time. If you're a performer, you know how it goes down here. That's why we have trouble keeping them sometimes. We're going to get into this bullseye of the week. I may have to go ahead and talk about this guy again next week because I probably won't get to say everything I want to say about him this week. I'll probably open up the show by finishing on this guy. He's a close friend of mine, a guy that I came up under, but that I feel is owed a bullseye at this point. Give it to us, Wesley. Bam! Yeah, the old school one himself. Look at that. Every one of those T-shirts right there, they are available at the Impact Arena every Saturday night right up at the merchandise counter. But Bad Brad Michaels, I'm giving him the big bullseye because he is a man that's been a part of this business for a while. He and I have had many a personal discussion, and I won't go into all of those, but I think that we have both grown in the business together. We have both taken different paths. I think that I have stayed more committed to it than him at times, and we've had those discussions. But I think that this last run that I've been able to be involved with Brad Michaels, that I've been able to be with Brad Michaels on here at IZW this time around, I've been very happy to have it happen. Very proud to be a part of it. He's been the true professional. He's been a show-first guy. He's done everything asked of him. He's tried to help everyone in the locker room be better. He's tried to sell himself more this time than he ever has before. He has sacrificed himself to the show, and he, for the first time ever, came in and said, hey, I want to learn. And to me, that's the biggest step Brad Michaels could have ever taken. Because I said that and I meant it. The biggest step we all take is saying, I want to learn, and knowing that we can all learn something, and just realizing where we're at and who we can learn from and what we can learn from them, but always being willing to learn. So, I don't know that anyone else can have time because our video is 1:14 and we are coming up on that. I will probably go ahead and talk about Brad again next week. Love you, man. So, as we head out, this is a Christmas present for all the fellas
90 seconds.
and some of the ladies. That bitch is gonna quit cutting in. I'm gonna figure out how to make that. Can y'all hear that when she talks?
I don't think so, dog.
Can y'all hear that out there?
Yeah. No, I don't hear that.
No, Rob, do you hear it? Anyways, go Ren. Hey, go Wes. Go. Here it is, America. Bam. Oh.
60 seconds.
Oh my gosh. I did not even do nothing wrong, I swear. Oh no, they're all coming after me. Oh crap, I can't remember how to reverse. I should have picked out a truck for my getaway car instead of this hippie van.
Bam.
60 seconds. 10 seconds.